Hey, this is Jack, and this video is why does he act interested then disappear? And if this has happened to you, I want you to hang around in this video because I think I've got information that you may not have come across elsewhere. And I just want to start by saying, hey, this is hard territory, and if this has happened to you before, perhaps it's happened to you multiple times, I just want to kind of offer you some compassion for that because I know that it's a difficult experience. It's a difficult experience on the other foot as well, right? When you're a dude and you're interested in and think something's going somewhere and then suddenly it doesn't. But it seems like this experience is more common for women who are interested in men, and it's part of dating psychology or getting to know someone that I don't think as a society we have a great handle on. So I'm going to give you 3 things that might be going on here. Now, this video isn't sufficient in the sense that there could be other things that are going on that I don't talk about in this video, but it is necessary in the sense I think you want to understand these 3 things because they will at least improve your repertoire, your repertoire of options as to what is going on. So if I can regain some composure here. Reason number 1 is the guy's model for investing in relationship is to really try before he buys. And I don't want to make this wrong, and actually just want to acknowledge up front, I think a big part of my strategy in the past when I was in the dating game was this orientation, right? And that's to say, I need to get a lot of information on the front end to then decide, is this something that I want to invest in? Some people's way of investing is kind of incremental, right? So the more they're hanging out and seeing a date with you, the more it means they like you. But this kind of guy, it's sort of like there's a threshold moment where at some point he's going to make that evaluation, but he's gathering a lot of data on the way in. Think of it a bit like, and sorry if this isn't a helpful comparison, but think of it like a business that's being researched, right? That you might do a ton of research, investing time in researching a particular business, and then decide, you know what, that's not the right opportunity for me. And so I think some guys have this kind of orientation, and it will probably show up not just in their dating, in other areas of their life, right? Where they may really kind of try something on in order to know, is it this opportunity or is it that opportunity? And at its less healthy, that could feel kind of opportunistic, and it could also feel confusing because you have a very different investment strategy. And I think that there's an opportunity here to not subjectify men. By which I mean to not imagine that your investment strategy and their investment strategy are the same, and to not imagine that he should have the same investment strategy that you do. Right? Part of this is just the kind of sobriety of seeing we operate differently, and that if you know there are some men that they've got to date you for a long time, and then there's going to be a point at which they may up the game and say, yep, let's do this, or they may not, that might just help you not get hurt in this situation because you're not ahead of where he is in his particular thinking. And here's the kicker, which might be disappointing to hear, but I just want to kind of lay it out because I think it's at least partially true. Sometimes in that process of investing that energy to kind of research if you might be a good fit or partner for him, he might be really into it. Right? He might be showing up just in the same way if you thought, wow, I'm going to launch this new business and I'm researching it, I've got energy, I've got ideas. He might be showing up that way with you. And you're like, that's crazy. I would never do that unless I really wanted to invest full on in this relationship. Okay, I get it. He might be different from you. Let's try and get with the reality that if he has that kind of approach, what is it that you need to do to be true and to be, in connection with your higher self during this process, right? Maybe it's that you need to have a number of conversation points where you actually check in with him and you see what's really going on. Maybe it's that until you hit a 3-month mark with this kind of guy that you're actually not drawing any conclusions. You're enjoying the connection, but you're not making any sort of fantasy or story about the future, or you're certainly minimizing that as much as you can. So that's the first reason, is that he might have a particular investment strategy that's got to pass through a threshold before he deepens with you. The second thing that might be going on, why a man acts interested and then disappears, is that there may be a kind of attraction that exists between you, which isn't the kind of attraction that is a strong predictor of long-term relational potential. So just hang in there a little bit with me. So a couple of things that could be going on here. One is that you could have sexual attraction, right? It's clear you're sexually attracted to each other. You like each other in that way. Maybe you have a great physical connection. Maybe you've explored it. Maybe you haven't. But that there's chemistry in that department, and that is undeniable, and you can't unnotice that. But that kind of attraction is a different thing than, are we good, compatible, long-term partners? So sometimes a guy is just acting on that impulse, and you might be too, which is like, I'm drawn to you, I'm sexually attracted to you, my system is inflamed around you, and I kind of want to respond to that. And the question of what is this really, or where is this going longer term, is not the question that's loud and present in the system or in his system at this time. And if you're going to explore a physical connection there, you might have to know that, yeah, it could be that it really is mostly a physical sexual connection, and it's not some kind of deeper emotional or soulmate type connection. I don't know if there's any particular way around this. What I would encourage you to notice, if you're in the presence of this guy, is bring the attention on yourself and try and tune in across head, heart, and belly, or if you're a chakra person, tune into your different chakras. Just basically notice the different types of connection we have. Do we have an intellectual connection? Do we have an emotional connection? Do we have a kind of soul connection? Right? And you might not know this off the bat, but just kind of notice, because sometimes, and this is like a curiosity of life, you might have one type of connection really strong and another type of connection isn't there. Sometimes people connect great intellectually, emotionally, but physically, it's just not really a connection. Sometimes the connection is really physical and it doesn't happen in other areas. So it's sort of permission to notice that there are different strains of attraction, and you normally have to hit several of those for something to have longer term relationship potential. And that's for you and for him. But he may be having the experience that you're on a certain frequency and the other frequencies aren't quite there. And when he realizes that, he's not so interested in the connection anymore. And of course, it would be great if we had a culture where you could just communicate these things clearly and directly and compassionately to one another, but that's not really the culture we have yet. And often a guy might be just as confused as you are, like, wow, I thought I was really into her, we have this physical connection, and now actually on the other side of that, I'm noticing there's this kind of big lack in these other ways of connecting. And that's not to say that there aren't dudes out there who kind of know that they're not really into you and they want to just be physical with you. Of course, those dudes exist. But I also think there's a bunch of dudes where it's actually not as clear cut as it might be on the front end, or where you kind of have to get the physical thing. It's so loud, it's so inflamed in the system that has to kind of be moved through in some way in order to know what's really on the other side. The other kind of connection we could talk about is what we call unconscious attraction. And unconscious attraction means, in most instances, something like this. Archetypically, in speaking in archetypes, you are somewhat like the archetype of his mother or caregiver, or someone that had a big imprinting on him in his early life. And that is what the connection is based around. That there's a kind of like, if you look at someone across the room and there's this instant zing, sometimes that is unconscious attraction, which means it's kind of just your animal nature is just picking up this imprint in this other person that's really familiar to you and is attractive to you. Now, whether that is the same thing as a long-term relationship, very different in most instances. So you might also want to notice, is the connection only arresting, right? That we're just kind of into it and it's passionate and it's inflamed. That often isn't the person that you're going to settle down with, because there's normally some kind of ability just to kind of be with each other and hang out and enjoy the company that you keep, the sort of companionship that has to be there for a long-term relationship to unfold for most people, right? Some people, their ideal long-term partner is not maybe someone they spend a lot of time with, but they just have this super zinging connection and they're not so worried about the other types of connection. But for most of us, we want these other types of connection. So this point is about notice what is the quality of your connection and the different types of attraction that it could be. Don't create a story about it earlier than you need to, and really be open to noticing and be in the truth of what is here in our connection. Now, the third reason that a guy may act interested and then disappear is that he's not actually available for a long-term relationship. You might have heard me before distinguish these three types of relationship. We can call them companion, lover, and partner. So companionship, if a guy is really, truly, and this is not personal to you, right? This is just universally in his orientation to relationship, at this stage of his development, if he's only available for companionship, then if you're looking for a relationship, right, you actually want a partner, at some point that tension is probably going to be difficult. And he may take a step back from the relationship because he realizes what you want and what he wants are different things. And if what you want and he wants are different things, it's probably better that you discover that earlier than later in the connection, right? So you can see how this, even if it's painful and feels rejecting, this also serves you. He may be available for lovership, which means he wants to be romantic. He wants to be sexual probably, but it's kind of like a romantic whirlwind kind of thing rather than a long-term stable partner thing that he's available for. And again, this can be confusing because you have a really strong connection with that guy in a romantic sexual way. You're like, why is he not into, making brunch with me and hanging out and Netflix and chill and making commitments and meeting my families? And it's like, no, that's not what this is about for him. Again, it's not personal to you. It's like, that's what he's available for. And sometimes where this gets difficult is that then a guy shifts, right? He may, from one month to the next, suddenly become available. Some cycle completes. He's now available for something, and he doesn't then want to pursue that with you. That can be heartbreaking because the founding energy of a relationship can be really important. The sort of initial way that the connection unfolds can be the sort of dominant groove of the relationship. It's not always easy to swap tracks, right? To be companions or lovers and then suddenly to move into being partners. Not to say it can't happen, but it's not the most common path. So you need to pay attention to what is actually happening and what he's available for. So I think you get the essence of this. The third reason that he may be interested and then disappear is that actually he's not available for partnership. And the best way that you can deal with this is to have a conscious conversation with him on the front end, like irrespective of me, what are you available for kind of conversation. What are you looking for from dating? What do you want for your life? Where do you see yourself a year from now? That's half of it, right? Is to get him to clarify in words to you what he's available for. And the other half is noticing, right? If you go on a date with him and then he doesn't hit you up for 2 weeks, he's probably not thinking about partnership because that's not really the way that you would orient towards a partner. So again, notice those things, and particularly the things that it's like, you need to have a little bit of objectivity. It's hard to notice because your heart's on the line and your emotions are running high. But if you can just tone it down a little bit to notice, or even maybe get some reflection from a friend, therapist, coach to say, is this guy really available? And he might sometimes think he is because in his head, he's good partner material. He's like, I'm a good guy. And at some point, I'm going to be a good partner to someone. But he might not be distinguishing that in this moment, he's actually not available for that. And even though his mind is running realities like he is, in his actions, you can sense that he's not available. So I hope that's been useful. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Please share this video if there's someone you think would benefit from this. I'm trying to get the word out. As always, questions and comments below the video, and tap that bell notification so that you will hear of videos as they come out. Also, totally open to any suggestions you've got for me for videos. So thanks for being here. I'm Jack. I appreciate it.